Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. Joby Houghtaling is here, and we're going to talk a little fishing here, but I got to ask you, Joby, you and Kelly were burning up the highway this weekend. Kelly with Art did the Roswell Goddard game at the Wool Bowl while you were in Albuquerque or in Rio Rancho.
Right.
Doing the volleyball games, and then you guys reversed roles. You were here with Robbie doing the Bulldog Football game Saturday, and Kelly got to go to Rio Rancho and do the games on Saturday. He did the Goddard game Saturday morning, then the Goddard-Roswell rematch of the rematch of the rematch. Goddard-Artesia, I'm sorry.
Right.
Rematch of the rematch of the rematch of the rematch.
I think it was our fifth time this year to play
I think it was.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he got to do the state championship game, Artesia and Hope Christian, right after you and Robbie finished calling the football victory over Mayfield. So it was just... What's it like? I've been to the Rio Rancho Event Center for volleyball, but not everybody has. Most people probably experience it either listening or watching on there. But what's it like to be there in the facility itself?
Well, so if you have not been there, what they do is they've got 4 courts across the floor there in the facility. And those 4 courts are separated by not much between them. So you've got the chairs for each team on the left side. So as I was looking at it, I was going to say as the network that showed it on Friday showed the state championship games, they were actually behind. They were actually to the end of the, looking at a side view. But where I was sitting, all the chairs for the teams were on the same side of their court. So that was basically all that was between the court and the next court. And they have little stands that have, sitting on the top of these stands on each court, at the end of each court, and it's just one for each court, is a digital scoreboard. And all it has is, it has a timer, and it's got a place for the points. And then it's got a place where but I never could equate which one went to which one, but who has a set and who doesn't. So underneath each one, but so that's kind of how the courts are set up, and they're just back to back. They're just all right beside each other. So you've got until you get down to the end, you got 4 games going on all the time. There's a lot of volleyballs in the air. There's a lot of fans in there, kind of lined up on either the north or the south side of the arena. The courts are running north and south, and so you got fans for both teams kind of lined up there 4 courts worth. The media, where they put the media, is kind of on the end, kind of in a corner on the end. So you can imagine a rounded facility, kind of an oval shape, and on the second level is where the media is at, and it's called the media room. And not a lot of media there, really. There's a lot more for the basketball at the pit than there is at the volleyball, but there was a few. There was a couple of newspapers represented that I saw, and I think I did see one radio station other than us that was trying to cover a game. But
and that's changed, Joby, because I can remember when we first started covering volleyball, there'd be 4, 5, 6 different radio stations. Again, like you said, not as many as
at the pit,
as basketball.
Right.
But, yeah, I usually run into the usual suspects of people I've been running into over the years.
And I don't know why that's changed. Maybe because NFHS has covered, but I don't think they covered the games on Friday.
No, they didn't. The only games they covered were the championship
games at all, right? I mean, there was no radio or anything. So anyway, you've got a lot of balls in there. You got a lot of action going on. There's a lot of whistles being blown. But the girls seem to focus in pretty good. I mean, a couple of times I thought, from my vantage point, a whistle had blown on our court, and it wasn't. But, they're down on the court, so they can kind of, the athletes and the coach and the coaches can differentiate from the court right behind them, because literally, especially if you're in the middle two, you got courts on either side of you. If you're on one of the ends, you just got a court either behind you or in front of you, or to your right or to your left. But on the courts 2 and 3, you got stuff going on both sides. But it is a great atmosphere. So there's a lot of action going on. It's not the easiest thing to call from that media room if you're not on the end court. Our first game, we were on the end court, We were on court 4, so it was right down catty corner below me. So that was pretty easy. But then the second game that I called, which was a Goddard game, Friday afternoon, because we played Goddard, as you pointed out, first things Friday morning. They were the 2 seed, we were the 7, so we had beat 10 to get there, and then the 2 played the 7 the way the brackets were drawn up, and which were normal brackets. And so we had played Goddard again, and that game was right there on court number 4, so it wasn't too hard to call because I was kind of right above it. But the second game I called was for Goddard, and their game was down on court 2, and I was still in that end, so it was a little more difficult because it's farther away, trying to see their numbers, and also just a lot of volleyballs going in the air between me and that court. Yeah. So I made a decision after the Goddard game, and I hope for all the Goddard fans out there I did okay that were listening in, but I made a decision to see if I could get, because they've got up on that second level, again, for fans that don't know, as you wanted me to describe it, it's all suites.
Like suites,
so suites all the way around on the north and south sides. On the ends, so the east and west, if you can envision that, on the west end, there's actually places where media could sit. I mean, that's where NFHS set up for the championship.
I figured that's where they were going to be based on how it was all laid out.
Right, but during but they don't let media sit down there, so that there was nobody really except for the NMAA. They were sitting in that end there. Which, again, would not be the best place to be except for on court 1, because that's on that west end of the but on the north and south sides are suites, and there's a bunch of them. And so I just thought, well, I just need to ask because they're not being used. That's the other thing. That I think they give suites, or maybe a team can purchase a suite. Maybe that's how it is, because not all the teams had a suite. I think the Bulldogs may have, but anyway. So some of the teams are in those suites, but a lot of them were empty. And there were 3 right in the middle that were being used, I believe, by NFHS. Or is that am I saying that right? Yeah. Because there was cameras and equipment in 3 suites, and the doors were open, but nobody was ever in there. They weren't filming. I could go down there and look, and I kept thinking I should just go in there and set up right beside those. In there. But I didn't want to get in trouble. Yeah. I didn't want to get Gene in trouble. You get a phone call and said, hey, your guy thinks he knows something. Yeah. So I asked the lady at the end. There was a young lady. That was kind of.
She was with the facility,
She was with the facility. Yeah. Down on the east end where the media room is. And when I came out after that Goddard game, I said, I said, ma'am, and she goes, yes. And I said, I'm wondering. I said, I'm doing the radio. My next game is down on court 2, where the game I just watched was on court 2. And it was difficult for me to call it. I said, do you think I could get one of these suites? And she goes, because all the doors are locked on them. All the way down through there, they're locked. And she kind of looked at me like she didn't want to, and she said, no, I don't think you can. I said, well, is there any way you can check? And she goes, you know what, let me check. So she had a little mic, a little walkie-talkie on her jacket, and she kind of walked away from me. She didn't want me to hear him, so I said, okay. So I went to the restroom or something, gave her some time, and I came back, and she said, I've called somebody. They're coming over here to talk to you. I said, great. So I waited, and then here come a lady, and she said, now, what can I do for you? And I said, well, told her the whole story. I said, we're on court 2 at 6 o'clock. I'd really like to be down there where I can see the court better. She goes, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. Let's go see what's available. So anyway, luckily they let us, because one time, or maybe I lose track of time, Gene, but one year I tried that, and they told me no, absolutely not. Right. They would not open, and there's nobody in them. That's what just blows me away. Yeah. But they told me no, so we had to do it from the end. Then another year, somebody I got the right person, and they went down and let me in, so I gambled, and so I got in. I got us a sweet
50-50 shot.
50-50 shot, and got in there. I set all of our stuff up, and then I hadn't eaten all day, and so I thought, because I won't say that story, but I hadn't eaten lunch, so I thought, well, I'll go to the media room and see if there's any food left. Well, there were 2 pieces of cold pizza left. So I had left our stuff all set up in that room, and I couldn't shut the door, because if I do, then it's locked.
It's locked
automatically. So I just left it open. I figured NFHS stuff was there all day. Nobody was even in those rooms.
That's right.
And so I went and grabbed a couple, got those 2 pieces of pizza, ate them real quick down on an end booth or an end of the stadium. And I went back, and there was a guy in there with a big, I don't know, he must have been probably maybe a newspaper or maybe just a team, but he was taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't say anything to me. And I mean, he was busy, so I didn't interrupt him. And I sat down and was getting ready because our game was coming up in about, 45 minutes or so. And then he took pictures of the. There was a game going on court 3. Well, there was a game going on all the time.
Yeah.
On all 4 courts. He was taking pictures, and finally he was wrapping it up, and I was about to come on air, and he turned and looked at me and said, "Hey, sorry I took your booth." I was like, "No, you know." He just saw one open and got right in there.
Yeah, got to take some pictures, so it helped him out. No, it's a beautiful facility.
It is.
And first couple of years we went up there, they had a suite for radio.
And so in the middle then, probably.
Kind of in the middle, and in the past, when they had the pool play and then your first round and then your quarterfinal and your semis, there'd be the multiple courts. And then by the time they got to championship Saturday,
it's just down to 2 courts.
It was 1 court.
Or one even.
Just 1 court, because all the championships would be played back to back. And the NFHS network folks were on the other side.
Yeah.
And then the radio people were on that side. So I'm going to have to talk to our broadcast association. And
ask them, say, why can't we
just buy a booth, rent a booth.
Or rent a booth, and then everybody could use it.
Then everybody could use it.
I will say this, the media room is a little more set up for media because the counter is wider.
Mm-hmm.
In those booths is pretty narrow. I had to kind of angle.
Yep.
But it was still a lot better to see because I was right there.
Yeah.
I was right over the top of our action, and so.
But everybody's very helpful. I think JP came in and probably said hi to you. Or
no, I saw him in passing a couple different times. We never did speak.
Yeah.
JP Murrieta. I saw him. He was down in that end that I was talking about. He was on his laptop, so I didn't bother him. He was working. Yeah. And then I saw him again, and he was on his phone as I was walking by, and so and he was just looking down, walking, pacing.
Yeah.
So I didn't even get to wave at him, but I saw him, and they were very accommodating. When I went in Friday morning, got there pretty early, and they were just opening doors. They weren't letting fans in yet, but I just walked up to the fan entrance, knowing that they may redirect me over to the team entrance, but a lady just saw me walking up. There were fans all standing there, but I guess my thing,
you had your green.
She just came and pushed the door open, and I walked in, and I had a mask in my hand because I didn't know what to expect as far as that goes, and none of them said anything to me. I said, I'm going to head up I'm going to go over to the elevator, and as I was almost to the elevator, I heard someone say, "Sir, you need to put on your mask," and I said, "Okay." but other than that, nobody ever said anything about masks, and
well, it's an exciting environment. Of course, you got to call the Artesia Goddard match, which went to 5 sets.
Yeah, it did.
Then you covered the Goddard match.
Well, they swept.
They swept, and then you did the Artesia game that night,
which was against Santa Teresa.
Against Santa Teresa, and we won 3-1.
We did.
And then Kelly did the Goddard game at 8 a.m., which they swept.
They swept again.
And then he did the Artesia Goddard rematch, which again went to 5 sets. And then, of course, he did the state championship match with Hope Christian, and it was great to listen to, and you guys did a fantastic job, and we had a lot of people that were listening, through our audio platforms, because
what is really another crazy thing that maybe the Broadcast Association could lobby for, but if they're not going to film anything but the championships, they should have let us film them. I mean, there was no. I just can't figure that out. I don't know why they won't let us film them.
If I had sent a cameraman,
you might have been able to do it, maybe.
And we did it through NFHS Network.
Oh, okay.
Then we could have done video from those first round games. But that would have required
a lot of money from you.
Well, no, but it would have required somebody with a camera.
I got you.
All that kind of stuff to get set up. And you just described the whole situation.
Yeah.
So where do you set to get the best video possible with 4 different courts going on?
Well, the best would have been where I was for 2 of my 3 games, which was basically right over the top. It would have been an in camera shot, kind of like we might have done that before, like Carlsbad. Yeah, I think we have.
Well, we moved the camera to the side, though.
We did this year, but I was thinking we might have in the past because of having to run cables. Now we don't have to do that.
But, we could have done that. But let's put it this way. If it weren't for Mr. John Ross, not John Ross Knoll, but John Ross helping us out. He helped us out with the camera on Saturday, did a fantastic job. It's just been really, really difficult. And you got to remember, we had Friday night, we had the Goddard-Roswell game.
Yep.
Saturday, we had our game.
Yep.
We had the NMMI Bronco game at the Wool Bowl.
Yep.
So there's my other producer was there. I was, producing the Artesia game. So we just did not have enough personnel to be able to pull that off.
Well, and maybe in the future, I mean, I hear you, but for volleyball, we could maybe next time and do a static shot, and if I go or somebody goes, they could set that up. But anyway, you're right.
But it's something to think about because. But it would have been through the NFHS network.
They would have had to buy that, but at least they could have watched it. Because I had a lot of people text me and Facebook, hey, you're on, but no video, and we tell them every year it's on everything, but it's just the way it is.
It is.
But I just said we can't. Say, why can't y'all do it? Nobody else, NFHS isn't doing it, and I was like, yeah I know, but
no, it's an oddity of how they do that. They own the rights. The NMAA does. And and you would think owning the rights means you're producing the broadcasts,
right?
But they don't produce the broadcasts, and so you got a lot of people that buy the subscription and expect to see it, and it's not there.
Yeah, that was the issue, I think, until the championship game.
Until the championship game. Football, Bulldogs, especially in that second half, looked really good on the football field Saturday.
They did. I think our defense played really good all game long. We gave up those 14 points there in the first half, but really on two big plays made the difference for Mayfield. Their defense, you take away those two big plays, and they don't have any points on the board, I think. Yep. And so defense played very well. Our offense did not play bad by any stretch, but I think they would agree, and the coaching staff agree, there were some things that they can work on.
Well, we threw it to them a couple times.
Yeah, we did have some turnovers. We did get some turnovers from Mayfield as well.
That's right.
But, and I think they were 3-3. I think we had 3 interceptions that we turned over, and I think they had 2 fumbles and an interception, if I remember right.
So it kind of evened out.
So it evened out from that perspective. But overall, a great game. I like the Bulldogs' chances. I know we're playing Farmington this week. They're number one seed. I think they've been ranked number 1 all year. They're undefeated. But I still like our chances. And number 1, they're coming into the bowl, which always bodes well for us. Although I agreed with Jeff's assessment Friday when he said, Mayfield, they're coming from bigger school mentality. They don't care about the bowl. And I agreed with him. I mean, I think that they didn't have that. I don't know that we had the necessary the edge we usually do with teams coming into the bowl. I think we might going forward. Because now they've been there and they got beat, and now they're thinking, whoa, this was an environment. And, because it was a great, as always, a great hostile environment for the opposing team. My daughter, who's a cheerleader, said she was just amazed by their fans, how much noise they made. And
they had their banners out,
and they, better than any school. She was right. I think she's like, I don't think I remember ever seeing a school do that much stuff. And they didn't bring their band or cheerleaders. I was disappointed in that. I wish they could have done that. But great game, and looking forward to this coming weekend. Also looking forward to basketball season. And before we sign off, I know we got a minute or so.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm looking forward to fishing.
Okay.
And I hadn't talked about any of that.
All right.
But excited about next year for Pecos Valley Bassmasters, also for the New Mexico Bass Nation, and hoping. I've got some ideas for our club, and as the president, I don't vote and I can't make motions, but I'm going to give some suggestions and just see where it goes. One of the things, and so anybody out there listening, and we may have some club members say we don't like that, and if we do, we won't do it. But one of the things I'm going to suggest is that we have one-day tournaments, even though they'll be weekend, our normal Saturday, Sunday weekend tournaments, but instead of having one tournament, we make them 2 one-day tournaments. That's going to allow. That I'm suggesting that somewhat selfishly because of church on Sundays, and it would allow me to then make a decision. If I want to go on back home, I could for church, and that also allows other pastors across our Pecos Valley that may want to fish but say, well, I'm not going to because I'm in church on Sunday. They may go ahead and join the club and fish Saturdays. And so that's one of the suggestions, and I think that'll be a good, if the club members go for it, I think that'll be a good add to our club.
Okay. And if you want to learn more, you can always call Joby. You can go to the website. It's pvbm.club.
And my information is there, so you can't email me or call me. All my information's in there.
Sounds good. Well, looking forward to Saturday.
Yep, me too.
Got another football game coming up, and no other things going on other
than that football. We can focus.
We can focus. All right, Joby, thank you as always. And thanks to Rob at Kith